Hey, and happy Monday. It is Master. And today, not even just today, but this week, really life, but I've decided to dedicate this week to allowing more. Today's topic, I'm going to focus on what does it even mean to allow more? And how does one begin to allow more? That's what today I'm talking about. And before I go any further, for those of you who are here for the first time, I'm Master Naima. I am the CEO and thought leader here at Melanin Sovereignty. I came into this industry of coaching and transformation in 2011 and struggled like most people do. And in 2014, got serious about money and service, where so many of us think we can just serve, help, and not have money be equally important. So I decided to make money equally important in 2014, and in under 4 years crossed the seven-figure mark. And there's so much that I've learned being a melanin woman in this industry that has been dominated by white folk, and why there are so few of us at the upper echelons, meaning the ones who are at multiple six-figure, seven-figure mark, and then coming into awareness about the power of who I am. One, as a melanin being, two, as a master, and recognizing that there are those of us who walk this planet Earth who I'm uniquely meant to touch and help transform their lives, just as you have people in the world who you are uniquely meant to touch and help transform their lives. And so I've established brands over time, and Melanin Sovereignty was born this year. Whoa! So, although Melanin Sovereignty is new, welcome to who's joining me on Facebook. Although Melanin Sovereignty is new, this deep work that we're about, which is essentially, let me make it plain, helping you highly monetize your high spiritual work. That's essentially what we do here at Melanin Sovereignty. We help you highly monetize your high spiritual work. And so, although Melanin Sovereignty is new, the work that's being brought forth, some of it has been cultivated over years. Some of it I innately possess because I was born with the wiring to be able to teach a thing that nobody else can teach. Just as there are others on the planet who have things to teach that only they are qualified to teach it. That's a whole other conversation that will be brought in when it's meant to be brought in. I'm saying that to let it be known for those who are watching. Say hi to me. Say hi, hi, hi. Those of you who are coming in, say hi, 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 hi. So I am really excited to discuss more, how to allow more. And this is a wide topic because more is so diverse. More is expansive. More is a havingness. More is infinite. More is, it's like almost, right, the way I'm feeling and sensing the more. It's so much even beyond cognition. It's beyond cognition, meaning the way the mind likes to package and chunk things down. The brain, I should say, the brain does that. And before I go any further, I encourage those of you, hi Tracy, I encourage those of you who, another thing I decided to do this week is to really speak, because there's a diverse group of people who are watching me. When I say diverse, I mean different levels of consciousness, and that's normal, What I'd like to talk to this week is those of you who are not new to consciousness, are not new to infinite ways of thinking and being. You have probably already been in coaching programs with some of the other more mass coaches, right? Who are working with the everybody's. You have perhaps been the only Black one in the coaching program, or one of three, right? You have gone to the retreats in London and New Zealand and Italy with other coaches and other programs, right? You've done these things, right? And while they were fun and you learned some things and they had value and they had their place, there was a depth and a truth about you as a melanin being, as blood, rich, high blood, and ways that your wiring creates success, not just your doingness, but the way you're wiring, the way you're uniquely born and made, the way your skin communicates with all the natural elements, and the high spiritual nature of who you are could never be reached and spoken to and lived from as you were being coached in these white retreats and white coaching programs. And the reason why I know this is because this has been me, you know? And so I know what it looks like. I know what it feels like. I know what's missing. I know where the limitation is in those programs. And so that's a chunk of what happens here at Melanin Sovereignty is that the profundity, I love that word so much, the profundity of who you are as a melanin being and the richness that's required to be tapped into you, for you to tap into to create, allow, and be more is what happens here in Melanin Sovereignty. So for those of you who have been in these programs, you're not new to this. What I'm saying is not on some level not new to you. You already know it, even beyond cognition. You have it in your bones. You have it deep in you. And yet you've either been in these other programs, you've been working alone. Perhaps you still struggle with scarcity consciousness. And you just haven't been met. How about that? I mean, like that has been a big part of my reality. Never being met. As you've heard me say, that only a master can reach a master. Like only somebody who's there can reach somebody who's on their way there, right? Or who's already there, right? Or who is even past there, right? And so I'm talking to you this week. And so I have 2 openings for private clients, right? This is private, right? This is what I'm talking about right now, private clients. For those of you who see yourself as advanced, you already know it, right? You're not like, am I advanced? You already know you are, right? You are beyond practically every human being that you speak to throughout your daily existence. What it is that you're looking to bring to the world is not for the masses. While you may not be living it and are embodied now, the deep part of you knows that who you are is vast and that you could swallow people whole if you chose to, right? You know that you are profound, even if you're not living it, right? And you recognize that in order for you to birth the signature thing that lives only in you, that is going to require an entirely, radically 180-degree different version of you. And you recognize that it's going to take another sovereign being to even coexist with you in the vortex that is required for you to birth from. That's who I'm talking to this week. If you're ready for that level of support, that level of work, that level of power, so that you produce because you become, okay? Which is what this video is all about. How do you actually allow more? Right? All right. So inbox me. For those of you who I'm speaking to you, everything I just said is speaking to you. I have 2 openings. I'm looking for some powerful as I am looking to feel electricity run through my clitoris by you simply DMing me. I'm looking for your full power, yes, me. That's what I'm looking for from you. Like nobody else is gonna. And okay, let me back up because I know people's egos start. All right. There are other people you can go invest in. Okay? Plenty. I have lists of them. If you'd like a recommendation, I have it. My Rolodex is fat. Okay? So what that also means is I know pretty much what's out there. Back up, pump your brakes, right? I'm not, uh, you know what I'm saying. You know exactly what I'm saying, right? All right, done. So, how does one allow more? This is an extended conversation from what I spoke about last week when I talked about embodying vastness. So I'm going to start this by sharing some transformation that has happened with one of my private clients who is, like many of you are doing or will do, using video marketing to promote your products and services, right? So IG Live, Facebook Live, YouTube, maybe you do some Zoom classes and trainings and things like that. But video marketing is the way that you market. And she would get all these, and she gets the likes and the loves and the comments and all that. Oh, she is just so like, oh yes. Right, loving all this attention and positive, yeah, on her videos, etc. And when she does a video or she does a post where, this is not the case anymore because we work through this together, but there's something to work through. And it's speaking to the point that I'm making here about allowing more. When she wouldn't get, I got some hair on my lip. When she wouldn't get all the likes and all the dopamine, right? The cheap thrill of the dopamine of 20 likes and 15 comments and right? She'd want to delete the video. She'd want to delete the post. And she did sometimes, right? And so she would show up to our calls about how she wasn't able to reach this goal. And she set this goal and she wasn't able to do that. And right. And she had told me about a particular video that she did. And we were working on, because we're always, no matter what area you come in at, we're always working on embodiment of power so that you can allow. And so she's like, and I knew her schedule for her videos. And she inboxed me and she was like, I did that video, but I don't like my energy in that video. I'm taking it down. And I didn't say yes or no, because part of my job is not to tell you what to do. Even if you ask me directly, Naima, what do I do? If I see it in your best interest for me to not give you the answer and give you a question that causes you to find the answer in yourself, I'm going to do that. Okay. So she said, I'm deleting this video because I don't like my energy in this video. I didn't say yes, delete it. I didn't say no, don't delete it. I just sent her a smiley face. Because I know what's going on, right? Because I have the larger, wider view. So we get on our next session and I ask her, why'd you delete it? Well, because, my energy was off and, I didn't like the way I felt and it wasn't good. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. Right. And I said to her, and so what does taking it down do? Right? Like, why take it down? That's fine that you felt all that, right? You felt like your energy was off. You felt like it wasn't good. I mean, that's fine, but why take it down? Well, because I didn't like the way it felt with it sitting on there on the internet with how I was feeling and my energy was on. And I said to her, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly what I said, but I know the point I was getting at. I said, so you're unwilling to be with the bad feelings that you have with your videos, but you're totally willing and open to all the praise and the likes and the comments and the celebrations and doing such a great, right? I said, so you want all the glory, right? You want all the good, the likes and the money and the DMs and all that. But as soon as it don't feel too good, you deleting and you running out the door. I said, darling, if you want all If you want more than enough, if that's the real goal here, if your goal really is $4,000 in this next week, because that was her goal, $4,000 in a week. If $4,000 really is your goal, if to become an embodied, right? Embodied means full spectrum, not just good and benevolent and likes and yeses, but also worse crickets. And nobody is paying attention. And it feels like your energy is off. And it feels like you're stupid. And it feels like nobody cares what you have to say. And oh, how this, I'm deleting this shit. Why am I doing this anyway? How dare I think I can do this? I can't even do that. Like, if you cannot be with all of that, and that's why this video is titled How to Allow More. Hint, it starts with how to allow more good. It starts with allowing more of the bad. So that's one example of how do you allow more. Wait, and let me anchor this in right here. What I have learned over the years, where like feast or famine was the way, like make a chunk of money, then not make it. Make a little bit of something, not make it. Work, don't work. Just back and forth. There was an energy requirement, a standard, really, right? Because there's so much of this high-low business, right? And there are peaks and valleys in business. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this kind of way where one is unable to be with sustained power. You can rest, yes, that doesn't mean you're out of power. I mean, like the embodiment level of sustained power. And I realized that the ability to be able to have anything, right, is to be able to be with this sustained power in all its forms. And that's the key, in all of its forms. Because what happens is as you start to ascend, and when I say ascend, I mean not just in your interpretation and how you think, because that a lot of you guys already know things. Like you've heard it, you've read it, you can articulate it. When I say it, you're like, yeah, right. But many of you guys have not allowed it down and through here, because there's a way that you abandon when some electricity is perceived by you as bad, right? So typically we're talking about electricity that falls in the not allowed, inappropriate, no category. And this is what hear me out. Hear this right now. I only got about 10, 15 or so minutes left. Is that what I'm inviting you to do? What I'm inviting you to do is to really look at where you run away from on an energy level, that which you perceive as bad and inappropriate and sinful and ugly and dirty and not allowed and nasty and foul and vulgar. That right there. This is what I mean by those of you who are what I described earlier. I am available to work privately with you. See, running from that will keep you out of power, because we love to be, a lot of times, not always, right? And that's a whole other thing about the paradox of unconscious desire for nasty, vile things, right? If you run see what I mean? Like, here's an example. You're not supposed to, right? You're not supposed to want to see something bad happen to another person. That's like, oh, that's not nice. But isn't it true that there's maybe a person or two that you feel like needs to get a good ass whooping, right? There's some other things that you feel that you're not supposed to feel, right? Like, right? Sexual desire, fill in the blank, right? You're not supposed to, desire more than enough when there are starving children in Tanzania or wherever, fill in the blank, right? That kind of running away from these kinds of things and making them bad and like repressing and pushing them away, immediately disallows your ability to be able to be with the full spectrum of electricity, the full spectrum that's required for you to embody to have the more that you keep saying you desire. So to be witnessed in, this is the value in private coaching, working together. And obviously, right, there's value in group. And yet there are many people who have zero interest in group. And my focus this week is those of you who are ready for private. You know that's for you. Is that you get a chance to drop it. Oh my God. In the presence of someone who's qualified to be with you and you're dropping it. Have you ever tried to talk about something massive with somebody who didn't have the frequency to even receive what you were talking about? And as you were talking, it's like you couldn't even finish because you could feel that they couldn't receive the thing that you were bringing to them. You see? You know what I'm talking about. I can see that. I feel that. And so the value of the private work, first of all, I love it. First of all, right? That's very self-serving. I love it. I love to be able to look at you and I, and for you to be able to talk in full range. Take that in full range without having to cut pieces off or translate. You know, when you're talking to somebody who is not quite there, there's all this translation that must be done for them to get it, right? There's a kind of withholding that you do because you recognize that, right? All that unnecessary. You get to fully speak to and hear yourself speak it. You deserve this. You deserve to be heard fully. Not a fraction of, not just the amount that people have the capacity to receive from you. Fully. You understand? And so you become new every week. If we have weekly sessions, you become new every week. It's like a client I spoke with this morning. She's like, you know, during the week, I'm this, I'm that, and when I come here, it's like a reset. It's like reset, catch up, reset. And so we get to track your progress, right? Because you're working closely with me. You get to see, well, I said this was the desire a month ago, but my actions are showing, my subconscious thoughts are showing me something else. It is glorious to be able to have yourself tracked and witnessed over time so that you actually start making the progress where it matters. Obviously internally, and then producing the result financially and otherwise. So what I invite you to do, if you are watching this as a replay, is let me know in the comments any particular areas about this that I'm talking about that you would like me to go deeper into, if this has opened something in you or you have a question about it. And then DM me. Remember, 2 more for private, right? There's plenty of spaces for group opportunity. Plenty, right? But for private, I have 2 more, right? So this is one-on-one, you and I, we meet virtually. We can do weekly or we can do bi-weekly. It really just depends on your schedule and the goals, like your seriousness level, like time, availability, and your honest goals, financially and otherwise. And so you would DM me, the way this works, you would DM me, and I'd ask you some preliminary questions. And I like to have these questions be custom. In particular, like sometimes I know the people who are inboxing me, sometimes I don't. But just some preliminary questions I'll be asking. And then from there, you'll receive an application. And that application will let me know if we should get on the phone to discuss this further, okay? So that's the process. The investment for us to work privately starts at $15,000 and goes up to $100,000. Payment plan. And so if you're like, well, I'd love to work with you, and if I did work with you, I'd have to do a payment plan, know that that's on the menu, okay? But I love working with my clients privately. My God, it is such a joy. Like it's such a wake up for me too. It's a reset for me too. My clients are like, you know, I love this, you know, fresh new week. We reset. Me too. I love it too. I love being on the front. Even when you, like I was telling my client this morning, like even when you are feeling frustrated and you're trying to figure it out, and we're pinging back and forth, and we're like, remember I talked about cornering, like the value of the 5 day money vortex is that for 5 days we get to corner the thing that is running you, that you like, how am I getting these results because of this thing? Inside of the private, we get to corner every single week. And then you get to go off and do the work and come back and corner it and see where you like, oh, actually, okay, but now we see my subconscious desires this, and work and play. And every week corner it, and then you get refined, and then you get refined. So it's a joy for me to see you refine over time, over time, over time. Remember, I said minimum 2 years to become embodied. And when I say embodied, I mean, as I always say, first nature way of being, but also where creating whatever the thing is normal for you, where you create, right? So this is beyond your business, right? Where you're able to create the team, where you're able to create realities in your world outside of business, right? Like this is the kind of first nature way of being that I'm talking about, right? And really being an example, really being an example. I'm so grateful. I'll say this, and I think I'll close with this. If somebody somewhere has something to say, now's the time to say it as I'm wrapping up. My client was telling me this morning, she said, I'm really grateful to work with you because she's like, there's all these famous coaches out here with large followings and at the multiple seven-figure level, and they're not sovereign. And you're sovereign, Naima. And it is just, I appreciate the modeling and working with you to be able to become my own sovereign. Sovereign is a long game. It's a big game. So when I talk about allowing more, it's allowing yourself to be with every single thought and feeling without making yourself wrong and bad. Be with it, question it. Allow yourself to feel what it feels to even think that thought and feel that feeling. And then as you start to get better with this, and I'm laughing because I'm getting ready to say something that's a bit more advanced, as you learn how to send it down beyond your solar plexus, which is where a lot of women hold a lot, right? The womb is a birthplace, and send it down through your genitals so it's not locked out of the power. Wow. So it's not locked out of the power, because that's typically like, we'll get everything involved, but as soon as we start talking about vagina, folks lose themselves. That's a part of your body too. Yeah. So I wrap up now. I'll be back here. So here, I'm indecisive right now about Wednesday. I may be here on Wednesday. I will definitely be here on Friday. The 5 day money vortex started today. And so technically it's not too late. I think 1 o'clock, which is 30 minutes from now, is the deadline. So I will just say that one more reminder is going to go out this evening. That's the final one. So today is the last day to join the 5 day money vortex. That's the real point. Today is the last day to join. Okay. So if you are not already a part of the email community and you would like to join us for the 5 day money vortex, where women have already started, the first assignment was put up yesterday. The second assignment is going to get put out, I think it's today, actually. And remember, the two things that you're walking away with inside this 5 day money vortex: knowing exactly what it is that you're selling, and number two, profitably packaging what it is that you're selling. Okay. So know that the nature of this work, and I'm on some level, I'm reiterating, preaching to the choir, this is very high level work that we're talking about here. And this is for those of you who recognize that the integrity for you to birth the fullness of who you are, to be able to birth the work that you're really meant for, that this profound work that I'm talking about is required of you, and that you are driven by the fulfillment of the dreams of your heart, right? Like, that's who I'm eager to work with. Oh, that's who I'm really, those of you who are so rich, so rich and you know it, and you're ready to have your external reality, financial and otherwise, reflect the richness that you are. That's what I'm here to help you do, right? And if there's something more that you're looking to be, do, or have, and you believe I can support you in that, you can also send that to me in a DM. So DM me today, like as soon as you hang up here, DM me immediately. Don't disqualify yourself. If there's any thought, if you already are like, yes, Naima, we're working together, but some other thought is stopping you from DMing me, push that aside and DM me as soon as I hang up here. And if you're watching this as a replay, as soon as you finish watching, all right? So thank you so much for being here. I will definitely be here on Friday. I'm undecided about Wednesday, but I look forward to seeing you soon. And please, if you hear all the time, or even if it's your first time and you have found value, share this transmission, okay? Because if you find value, I'm pretty sure other folks in your network will too. Thank you so much for being here.